What is the best major for the LSAT? Over the years, there's been a few studies looking at this question, and the results are often kind of scattered. But some regular high scorers on average tend to be philosophy and religion, economics, math, physics, and engineering. But you should take all of this with a grain or maybe like an entire shaker of salt. The reason you'd see any trend in this information at all is that a lot of these students have at least some background with different forms of logical thinking. Plus, some of these majors, like philosophy, are probably a little more accustomed to reading dense, confusing passages of material, which is another big LSAT struggle. But honestly, that's about it. If you aren't one of those majors, don't spend the rest of your day like sitting in a corner and crying. As a former theater major who spent all of his undergraduate career literally playing pretend, and whose LSAT score is in the top 1% of test takers, I can promise you, you don't gotta be a philosophy major to kill the LSAT. And on the other hand, just because you are one of these majors doesn't mean you're a shoo-in for LSAT success. The more realistic way of thinking about it is to remember that the LSAT's composed of 3 different section types, and different majors will probably do well in different sections. Logical reasoning section's all about validity and argument structure and fallacies, so people who majored in argument-heavy areas are probably going to have a bit of an advantage there. Logic game section, on the other hand, is like super robotic and formulaic, so a lot of times math majors, physics majors, engineering majors, or anybody else with a solid math background is probably going to do a little bit better there. But there's also an entire section that's just devoted to reading. This is where arts people, English people, and history people tend to be the best off. So yes, there is some correlation between certain majors and success on the LSAT, but there's still no reason to go off and change your major just so you can do well on the test. If you're trying to get a leg up on the competition early on, better move is probably just to like go buy a book of Sudoku or read an opinion article or two. The point is, your major is not the key to success or failure on the LSAT.